Molo, Tadobawo, Strenga Bapansi, Strengo Nonyanya, Molo, Tadobawo.
Never stop listening to the tales recorded in these walls, to the stories that are trapped in brick that ache to be told. This is part of a poem written by Keely Mills. The building that I walked into certainly had a lot of stories to tell. I was visiting the Caledon Museum at 16th Centurion Street. Museums hold such significance in our society, but currently they are facing many unprecedented challenges. First and foremost, there are the financial challenges that they are facing. Funding is something that museums heavily rely on, whether it be from government sources, private sources, or the revenue generated through ticket sales. However, in times of economic uncertainty, this funding can often be pushed aside for the more pressing concerns. I think that museums can look towards the community for a solution. Museums can establish membership programs that offer exclusive benefits to the supporters. Hosting workshops is also a way to not only include our community, but also empower it. And this brings me to my next point. Museums have to be accessible to everyone. Museums face the challenge of accessibility, whether it be physical or socio-economic barriers. Museums are often not fully accessible to those with mobility impairments, and this can be because of stairs, narrow hallways, or inaccessible layout designs. Admission fees and additional costs, such as transport, can also create barriers for those from low-income backgrounds. Museums can collaborate with transportation providers to offer discounted transportation for those with physical limitations. Partnering with local organizations is another way to host outreach programs and bring the museum experience directly to those who cannot access it. And lastly, I'm sad to say that the interest in our museums is on the decline. Some individuals perceive museums as outdated or even irrelevant. This perception can also be encouraged by some rural schools who do not even offer history as a subject from grade 9 onwards. Museums can thus demonstrate their relevance by encouraging schools to visit them during field trips. By doing this, they can reach audiences who would not typically visit museums and also spark interest in our younger generation. Dion Mayer writes in his book, The Woman with the Blue Cloak, that we cannot deny our origins. We cannot change where we come from. Why do people not understand this? We need to know where we come from, to know who we are and where we are going. I agree with Dion. To know yourself and the world around you, you have to know your past, and a big part of our history lies within our museums. So, when you have some spare time, go visit the buildings that have stood the test of time. Go listen to the tales that are recorded in the walls and the stories that are trapped in brick. You're going to have to listen harder to hear them, stare closer to see them. Become aware of the buildings that surround you.
Gentlemen, esteemed guests, today I stand before you to address a matter of utmost importance, the challenges our museums are facing in these uncertain times. Museums, those bastions of culture, history and knowledge, are confronting a myriad of obstacles that threaten their ability to fulfill their vital mission in society. First and foremost, the global COVID-19 pandemic has cast a long shadow over the museum landscape. Lockdowns, travel restrictions, and social distancing measures have forced museums to close their doors to the public, depriving them of crucial revenue streams and disrupting their operations. As they grapple with the financial fallout of prolonged closure, many museums are facing existential threats, with some being forced to consider drastic measures such as staff layoffs, budget cuts, or even permanent closure. Moreover, the pandemic has highlighted and exacerbated existing inequalities within the museum sector. Smaller independent museums and those in rural or marginalized
Molo, Tadobawo, Bapansi, Nonyanya, Molo, Tadobawo. Uze, ungayilahli imbo yakho ngophoyane. Well, that is a Xhosa phrase meaning hold on to your traditions and customs, even when you are far away from home. A very good afternoon to you all. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to pass my warmest, my sincere greetings to each and everyone present. Allow me to formally reintroduce myself. I am Ziyandakazi, a grade 11 learner from Gansbaai Academia, the School of Excellence residing in Gansbaai, a small town in the Western Cape known for its dense population of great white sharks and as a whale-watching location. It is indeed an honor for me to be standing in front of you. Today, I want to talk about something that I believe is at the heart of our identity, our culture, and our community. It is something that we often take for granted, yet it is what makes us who we are. I am talking about heritage. Our heritage is the culmination of our history, our traditions, our customs, and our values. It is the fabric that weaves our community together, making a sense of belonging and purpose. But people do not realize the importance of preserving our heritage. We often think that heritage is just about old buildings, museums, and historical sites. Well, it is much more than that. It is about our language, our music, our art, our food, and our stories. It is about the traditions that we pass down from generations to generations, the values that we hold dear. For instance, here in our country, South Africa, people often overlook the serenity of our cultural heritage, such as the serene beauty of the rock art in the Caledon region, created by San people thousands of years ago, which is slowly fading due to erosion and neglect. The peaceful surroundings of the Robben Island Museum, where Nelson Mandela was imprisoned, which is a reminder of the country's tumultuous past, yet is often taken for granted. The calming sound of the traditional Xhosa singing and dancing, which is an important part of the South Africa's cultural heritage, but is slowly disappearing as the younger generations lose interest. When we preserve our heritage, we are not only just saving the past, we are shaping the future. We are giving the future generations a sense of identity, a sense of pride, and a sense of belonging. We are teaching them where they come from and who they are. But if you don't preserve our heritage, we risk losing it forever. We risk forgetting our history, our traditions, and our values. We risk becoming a community without a sense of identity and without a sense of purpose. Museums are more than just repositories of the past. They are the guardians of our collective memory and catalysts for community engagement. They could contribute to community awareness and heritage preservation in many ways. They could collect, conserve, and exhibit artifacts, artworks, and historical objects, making our heritage accessible and tangible. They could also host educational events, workshops, educating the visitors about our heritage and its significance. They could also serve as community hubs, creating performances and hosting cultural heritage, making our traditions alive. Let us support and let us celebrate their work. Let us work together to preserve our heritage to our future generations. People do not realize the importance of preserving our heritage, but it is crucial that we do. Our heritage is what makes us who we are, and it is what will shape our future. And ladies and gentlemen, as I stand here on this stage, I am not just standing on the ground. I am standing on the shoulders of my ancestors who tilled this soil, who fought for this land, who passed on their wisdom, culture, and traditions to me. And with all that being said, I'd like to leave the stage. Thank you.